What's up, my people? This week, we are talking about how to communicate with a narcissist. You ever had to do that? Maybe it's somebody you work with, maybe it's somebody you live with, but this week I'm going to give you all the tips you need to communicate as effectively as you can. Drop me a comment, like, and subscribe. Let's get started. Everything I can tell you about communicating with a narcissist can really be tied back to one fundamental system that the narcissist depends on, and that is the system of narcissistic supply. Rebecca Zung taught me everything I know about narcissistic supply, but narcissistic supply is basically what the narcissist depends on. Narcissistic supply can be attention, it can be energy or emotion that they extract from you, whether it's positive or negative. Narcissists usually don't care, they just need some form of energy. It can be accolades, attention, press, people gossiping about, it could be anything. Narcissists thrive on any kind of attention or emotional energy. At the core of their need for narcissistic supply is their need to feel like they're in control of the narrative, of the conversation, of the situation, of the dynamic, that everything rotates around them. They are the center of the universe. Their instinct to do anything to get that supply, to get that attention, to get everyone frothed up around them, that's what gives them life. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, God, what a nightmare. Why would I even want to communicate with somebody like that? Yeah, fair point. In a perfect world, the only communicating you're doing with a narcissist is the communication where you're like, okay, bye, never talking to you again. Which, of course, if we have that kind of control, if we're in a place where we can just bounce and leave the narcissist in the dust, that's the first thing we should do. But we're not always that lucky, right? In my career in public relations over the span of many, many years, I've encountered a narcissist or two. And I didn't always have the luxury of just quitting that job or resigning that client. I needed those clients in that moment. I needed that job in that moment. So I had to learn to navigate and communicate with narcissists in a way that moved the ball forward, right? That allowed us both to get some kind of progress made on the projects we were working on together. So obviously, ideally, you don't communicate with a narcissist. You get the heck out of Dodge. But if you have to communicate with a narcissist because they're your boss and you need the job, you can't find another job right now, here's what you want to do. Keep in mind their need for narcissistic supply. So if you're communicating with a narcissist and they say something super nasty to you and it just gets you in the solar plexus, remember, they're just trying to get their narcissistic supply. They want to get a rise out of you. They want to piss you off. They want to make you ruffled. So you might play as if they're getting the better of you, but don't take the bait. Don't take any of it personally. Narcissists are literally just like vampires feeding off of your energy. And so if you can kind of give them, okay, fine, he wants me to be kerfuffled. You can behave as if you are, but then get back to business. Don't take it personally. Get back to task. So that's one example. Another example of navigating their need for narcissistic supply in a conversation is if you're trying to get them to do something, if you're trying to influence them, if you're trying to get them to think about something in a different way, do not speak in terms of you, right? Like they don't care about you. For narcissists, the people around them are just like appendages or possessions. They don't actually see you as a human being on the same level that they are. So if you go to a narcissist and say, gosh, when you said X, it made me feel Y, or, when you did this, I was so hurt and so sad about it. They don't care. They don't care. What they do care about is their reputation. They do care about how people feel about them. They do care about their personal brand. So back in the day, if I was dealing with a really narcissistic client, I wouldn't say, gosh, I don't want to damage my reputation as a public relations person by telling this reporter that something that I know is not true. Because a narcissist doesn't care. They'll be like, that's your job to lie to reporters. No, it's not. So instead of taking that tact, I would say, look, you can do whatever you want with this reporter. That's your relationship with this reporter. My fear, though, is that if you say something that turns out to be false, your relationship with that reporter is over. Your personal brand tarnished. Is it worth it? Is it worth losing your credibility over? Then they would listen to me. But they didn't give two flocks about my relationship with that reporter. So when you're communicating with a narcissist, make sure you are always making it all about them. Now, obviously, this would be very, very different if we were talking about somebody you live with, right? I focus in the workplace. I am not even touching the home life because for me, if you're living with a narcissist, you need to get out. But I know I already said that. It just bears repeating. Another technique to use to tap into that need for narcissistic supply is, do you remember in the movie or the book, The Hobbit? Do you remember when Bilbo Baggins goes creeping up to Smaug, the giant dragon, right? And how does he communicate with Smaug? Do you remember? How does Bilbo work it out with Smaug? By complimenting him up one side and down the other. Oh, generous, glorious, and marvelous Smaug, you are oh so dynamic and brilliant. How is it that you do what you do? Something like that. What Bilbo Baggins is doing is he knows he's communicating with a narcissistic dragon. So he's not taking it personally. He's not sweating it. That dragon has what he needs. So he's going to do whatever it takes to get that treasure out from under that dragon, up to and including complimenting, showering them with praise. Now, one of the most obvious examples of this is whenever I would see former Vice President Mike Pence in a press conference with former President Donald Trump. You can see this in spades. Pence is just showering the accolades on Donald Trump because whether you love Donald or don't love Donald, he's a narcissist. Even I think those of us who may have voted for him know he's a narcissist. And how did Mike Pence get around that? By using the old Smaug Bilbo trick, by flattery for days. Now, to be fair, that had consequences because then Mike Pence lost a lot of credibility with the rest of the country when they saw him doing that. So I don't recommend showering and pouring on the compliments in front of an audience because then you lose your credibility. You just look like somebody who's a giant brown noser. But one-on-one, super effective. Trust me on that. Also, as part of that narcissistic supply dependency, narcissists love to win. They want to win, they want to win, they want to win. And so if we're trying to influence their behavior and influence their decision making, use that phrase, look, if we really want to win here, we need to do X. That is a dog whistle for narcissists. They're like, ooh, win? I'm going to win? Let's win. What is she going to tell me about winning? If you, on the other hand, in contrast, say like, we shouldn't do that. It's not honest. It's not appropriate. It makes me uncomfortable. They don't care. You know what? If we really want to win this thing, we need to do A, B, and C. Now you've got their attention. There's a lot of different ways to slice this, but if you tap into their fundamental need for narcissistic supply, attention, compliments, accolades, anybody thinking that they are the greatest thing on earth, that is how you make progress with them. Alternatively, if you want to go deeper in this, I cannot recommend Rebecca Zung enough. She's got her own YouTube channel. It's all about negotiating with narcissists. She's got an online course dedicated to this. Take it deeper with Rebecca Zung because she knows what she's talking about. She's one of the top divorce lawyers in the country. Sister knows a narcissist when she sees one. So head on over there if you want to go deeper. And I hope this was helpful to you. Good luck out there. Dealing and communicating with narcissists is never fun and it's never easy. But you can win. You can make it work if you have to, in a pinch. I hope that was helpful. Drop me a comment, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you next week. Shine on. We need your light.